the cost of energy for the UK user, the end user at the point where you use your gas and electricity, is a lot higher than the rest of the world. And I could get into specific percentages or costings, but that stuff is all available on the internet for you to see if you really wanted it. I'm going to play you a very short clip here of Ed Milliband having a chat with a news guy on Sky News. And I think it provides a really, really neat and useful insight into the mind of Ed Milliband and why, potentially, this man is on the way to bankrupting the United Kingdom in energy costs alone. Not just because of the high costs of energy, but because of the cost of doing business. Firms aren't going to move to the UK to do anything. You just have to look at British Steel. You have to look at a range of manufacturing. It pushes the price of all goods up because we have to import everything because it's so expensive for energy in the UK. I'll play this clip for you first of all, and then we'll see.
Energy companies in this country are taxed at 78% on energy profits. That pushes up prices too.
No, that's wrong. Look,
it's not 78%?
It is 78%, but it's not incredible.
Whereas obviously regular corporate tax is 25%.
It's really important to make this point. Oil and gas is set, the price of oil and gas is set on the international market. The reason why...
That's the raw commodity price, in the same way that the prices of batteries is set on the raw, the raw commodity price.
It's not set by the tax rate on UK companies, is what I'm saying. It's set by the global price. You see,
I understand that, but you're saying that tax rates don't impact pricing?
I'm saying that in relation to oil and gas, they don't, because the truth is that the price for our oil and gas is set internationally. And let me explain. Let me just, if you just let me make the point. Why did prices go through the roof when Russia invaded Ukraine? Right, well, our prices went through the roof, even though we imported a very small amount from Russia. That's because whether the gas was coming from the North Sea or internationally, it was priced on the international market. That's why we're in the grip of fossil fuel markets controlled by others, petrostates, exchanges. And that wasn't about the UK tax rate. The UK tax rate could have been cut or higher, and it wouldn't have made an impact.
That's a separate point.
Yeah.
The floating price of commodities is a legitimate but separate point. Another point for why this country has unbelievably high energy prices is that we tax our energy companies.
No, you're wrong. I'm really sorry, but you're wrong about that because the price is set internationally. I'm really sorry, but that's not correct.
OK, well, let's put commodities aside. If you increase taxes on supermarkets to 78%...
It depends whether it's...
If you increase taxes on supermarkets to 78%, what would happen to the price of food?
It depends.
What would happen to the price of food?
It depends whether it's a domestic market where the price is set domestically.
This is a globally unquestionable factor about economics. You're right that your point also applies. You can't flatly deny my point.
I am denying your point when it comes to the question of these internationally set prices. That's the point I'm making.
If you lowered the tax of 78% on energy companies to the regular...
On oil and gas companies, it wouldn't make a difference to the price. In fact...
Yes, it would.
I'm afraid it wouldn't because the point is that the price is set internationally.
But there are lots of things that factor into the price that we pay.
I really enjoyed where the Sky newsreader laughed at him there, because this is where reality meets with this climate lunatic called Ed Milliband. The energy companies in the United Kingdom pay a corporation tax. In addition to that, they pay something called a windfall tax, and that totals 78%. So the energy companies are charged 78% on profits. And so what do? They put the prices of energy up. It's not overly complicated. They're in business to make money. They have shareholders. And like the energy companies, or hate the energy companies, it doesn't really matter. If they're taxed at 78%, then that's going to push the cost up. One fact that you may not know or you may know is that of the UK gas supply, the United Kingdom produces just under 1% of total supply globally. So we produce about 0.8% of the total gas on the planet for global markets. In addition to that, the population of the United Kingdom is 0.84% of the global population. So just thinking about that there, you might be confused and thinking, well, hang on, aren't we making enough gas for ourselves then? And you'd be right in saying that. But because of globalisation and gas being bought and sold on global markets, it doesn't really work out like that. So we're producing approximately the same percentage of gas as our population globally, yet we are charged on average 10.17 pence per kilowatt hour, right? And this is, the oil and gas industry, because it's been taxed in near extinction. And in America, they pay 4.04 pence. And so you can see the difference there. The government placed a massive windfall tax on energy companies with which to fund the green agenda. The green agenda, net zero, isn't working because it's just costing a fortune all of the time. In addition to that, what you've got the energy companies here overcharging customers, specifically in the UK, because they're being taxed into extinction and they have to make a profit. What needs to be borne in mind is that although the energy companies are seen as these big bad demons that are out there, they are a necessary thing because we need energy. And if you keep taxing them into oblivion, guess what happens? They'll just pack up and go. They'll just go somewhere else. They don't need to stay in the UK to sell us gas and electric. They can just go anywhere in the world. These are huge companies who can choose to go anywhere. In the UK, there's no fracking. Ed Milliband's doing his best to destroy the industry in the North Sea, and he's been quite effective at doing that. He is going to push on with this agenda, and the final point that I would make is this. Where are all these green jobs coming from? Where are all these green jobs? What we're doing with them? Because we seem to be buying a lot of solar panels from Asia. There's nothing being manufactured in the UK. So precisely, where are all these green jobs coming from? This climate zealot here that you've just watched there, when confronted with a real question and a laugh, and the other man actually turning round to a minister and laughing at him, he doesn't see the reality of the situation. And I think that was a highly embarrassing interview for him because it gave the public an insight into exactly what he thinks. If you tax energy companies at 78%, does it affect the price? Yes, it affects the price because they have to make their money back, Ed. Thanks very much for your time.